Hello, I am Brandy Laughlin, and we are here to discuss the data overview for West Lawrence Middle School. I appreciate the 6th grade math department for being here as we drill down in 6th grade data. The purpose of this overview is to address milestone scores, demographic changes. We will compare West Lawrence Middle School students to RESA and the state of Georgia, but most of all, we're going to drill down in 6th grade math data, highlighting the strengths and weaknesses, and coming up with ways to improve student learning and instruction. Keep in mind while we're going over this data, think about some things. What are the strengths in our different math strands? What strands do we need to improve in? What can we do to improve instruction? CCRPI is a comprehensive school improvement, accountability, and communication platform that seeks to promote college and career readiness for all Georgia public school students. As you can see, in 2015, West Lawrence Middle School fell below the state average. However, in 16 and 17, we surpassed the state average. Now, let's look at some demographic data. Out of 926 students represented in this chart, 72% are white, while 24% are black, and leaving about 4% Hispanic. As you can see, this is consistent with the trend over the last 3 years. We have our white students here at about 700. In 2016, it went right up under the 700 range. Black students, a little under 300. Again, it kind of decreased in 2007. Hispanic students, under 100. However, they increased within those last 2 years. In terms of gender, there are more males than females in 2016 and 17. However, in 2015, females outnumbered the males. Now, let's take a look at various subgroups. Each year, all subgroups are increasing. While the gifted and talented lead in the subgroups represented, the number of students in SPED are in close proximity. Now, let's drill down into some 6th grade math data. Each year, the number of students who score a level 1, which is the beginner level, is decreasing, so we are making gains. As you all know, the level 2 is developing, 3 is meeting, and 4 exceeds the standards. When compared to state and Middle Georgia RESA, West Lawrence Middle School has consistently had a higher percentage of students at or above proficiency. In 2016, we were right above 40%. 2017, above 40%, but a little under 45%. This is the state's percentage of students that are at or above proficiency, and this is Middle Georgia RESA. Exactly how many students? Well, in 2015, we had a little over 110. In 2016, we had a little over 120. And in 2017, we had a little above 140. Let's take this a step deeper. In terms of race, Asians continue to have a higher percentage of students at or above proficiency, even though the number of students range from 7 to 10 students represented in this data set. Next in line is Hispanics, and as you can see, their numbers are relatively low as well. And from 2016 to 17, there was a dramatic drop there. So let's keep that in mind when we start discussing weaknesses and our next steps. White students continue to score higher than the black students. However, both are showing an increase in the percentage of students at or above proficiency. Could this be related to our teacher demographics? As you can see here, 85% of our teachers are white, while 15% are black. We don't have any other races represented in the race of teachers at West Lawrence Middle School. Lastly, I looked at strand data to determine what specific content students are learning and not learning as well. 3 out of the 5 domains, we score 20% of our students are at or above proficiency. However, in number systems, which is a large part of the test, it's actually the biggest domain of the test, we have a little under 20%. So maybe that's a cause of that drop. However, statistics and probability, we are scoring 15% of our students are scoring at or above proficiency. Now, let's discuss the data that we've just looked at. Our strengths. Enrollment consistently range around 1,000 students. There is an increase in Asian, Black, and white student proficiency over the last 3 years. Asian students' proficiency is above 50% each year. The number of students who meet or exceed in math increases each year. Our proficiency percentages in math falls above RESA and the state at least 10%. What areas do we need to improve in? Looking at this chart, the red represents the areas that needs improvement. The white represents the next steps that we could take. Now, although our Black students' proficiency is improving, it still does not compare to their white counterparts. What can we do? What steps can we take next? We can offer incentives to track more Black educators, and we can look at our short-term data. In 2016 and 2017, we noticed a huge gap in the Hispanic student proficiency. What can we do there? Well, the same as what we just stated. In our statistics and probability domain, it stood out as a red flag as an area that we could use some improvements in. What can we do there? We can get more professional development for teachers. And again, you see short-term data. Why is short-term data consistently mentioned in our next steps? How are we using our short-term data? Are we using it to differentiate our instruction? How often are we assessing throughout our class periods? Should we focus on assessments, whether they are formal or informal? Now, let's take a minute to collaborate on more next steps that you guys may have. Let's put our brains together and brainstorm.